Welcome to All In with Sarn Patterson. I am Sarn Patterson. And today is not the greatest of days. And I wanted to talk to you about that. Today is the 11th anniversary of the death of my mother. And I know there's many people who have lost parents. My particular case obviously is not original or unique in that regard. What made it unique for me, what made it troubling for me, is the fact that I was in Afghanistan at the time. Because my mom died March 8th, 2011, and I was rolling around in 18 inches of moon dust dealing with a whole lot of stuff. I lost friends and many, many fellow soldiers while I was there. I recorded so many memorial services to the point that I will just about break down immediately when I hear taps, when I think about the rifle and the boots and the dog tags. And I lost a friend before I got there. I've lost friends since then. I have lost friends and family to cancer. We lost a dear friend recently to cancer, and I lost one of my best friends just a couple of years ago to cancer. I lost my grandparents recently to just age. I mean, they lived a long and full life. Doggone, in their 90s for one and close to 90 for the other, and they were amazing all the way. I lost my father-in-law to COVID. I've lost friends to accidents. And many of these happened pretty close to each other, which means I never really caught my stride. They were all just slices and bangs and dings against my heart, and they're still healing today. Grief does not have a timeline. I actually read on Facebook recently that there is no closure to grief, just a beginning, a middle, and the rest of your life. And I think there's a lot of validity in that statement. I've tried many different ways to try and process my own grief, to transmute it. I don't want it to be just sadness and pain and anger and frustration, because that doesn't do them a service. That doesn't help me remember them as they were. And I want to remember them. I want to share stories about them. I want to share times when they made me laugh. I want to share times that they made my heart full of joy. I want to share the times that they pissed me to frick off. I want to remember both the good and the bad. I want to remember them. And I want to be able to share them. Because I tell you what, nobody is a saint all the time. And I don't want to enshrine them, and I don't want to make them better than they were, or to purify it and I only remember amazing things, because they were more than just those small things, because there was those counterpoints. We're all that balance between how amazing we can be and how absolutely wretched we can be. And all of that gets wrapped up into our grief, because some of us may have regrets. And that's one of the bigger things that I had to work through, was regrets. To not look back and say, oh, I could have done this, or I should have done this, I better have done that. That time and moment is past. Shoulda, coulda, woulda doesn't work. And it doesn't make your grief any better. It makes it worse. It deepens it. It drives you to darker places. And that's unfortunately very personal experience talking. Instead, I really want to think and switch to be grateful, to be thankful that they were in my life, to the examples that my Uncle Larry set for me, to showing me how to be a quiet and strong man. And I am definitely not the quietest of people. From my grandmother, who came over on the boat as a first generation, and how she held on to things and how nitpick she was. But on the flip side, or with her and my mom making Kaludia. One of my favorite memories, making Kaludia. And always like, that didn't come out right. Oh, eating some of the dough. Spreading the butter on and putting sesame seeds on top. I want to remember those things. I also want to remember that she didn't always treat some of my other family members the best. And that's okay. Because we all make mistakes. We all have things that slow us down. But it was part of who she was. That cantankerousness, that feistiness. It was pretty awesome. I made a graphic that I will switch to here in a moment for my mom, or about my mom, or about everything, to help me process my grief. And it was pretty shortly after I got back from Afghanistan, and I was still reeling from so much loss. I had other personal tragedies that happened at the same time, all kind of rolled into one, and I was grieving those losses as well. And I want you to take a moment and just look at it. I'm going to leave it up for a little bit and let me know what you think, what you feel, what you see in this. I would appreciate your thoughts. And tell me your stories. Tell me who you miss. Tell me a great memory and one that you're still pissed off about today. Because grief should not drive our life. It can change us, but let us change it for the better. I still, I have dreams, and all I can see is a wall with photos of soldiers that have fallen. I don't remember their names sometimes. I don't remember their faces. I just remember the loss. I remember walking on patrol with one kid one day, and the next day I'm hanging a photo of him. To the point that I was shutting down so many things within my own system to try and not deal with that grief. And I got to tell you what, not dealing with that grief, not dealing with that loss, not dealing with the soldiers gone, with my mother gone, with relationships dying, it stays with you and eats at you and changes you, and it puts you in a dark spot you don't know about. And those are things I hope to talk with you more about later, because one of the reasons why I started doing this is I want to share difficult things and let others know that grief can be all-consuming. It can be a wave that crashes upon you and just swamps you and swirls you, and you don't know which way is left, right, up, or down. And you don't even know that you're sinking. I miss her today. I miss them today. And there are times when it feels like there's a fist squeezing my heart. And there's others where I can laugh with joy, and I can remember just how amazing they were, how much they brought to my life. And if you're a personal friend of mine, you have heard more stories about my ma or my grandparents or others, and you could probably tell them back to me because I've said them so many times. Because that's how they can live on. It's a different type of immortality. I'm not here to speak about spirits or afterlife or any of that kind of fun stuff, because I'm still here today. And I still carry them with me today. And I want to be able to honor them and honor myself, but not let that grief stop me from living. Not let my regrets stop me from doing. It's not easy, but I've got your 6. And if you need to talk, if you would like to share with me. Thank you for listening today.